Another edition of our Thursday night's class. My sincerest apologies for the delay. It took 4 hours today to get here. That was a long ride. About half the flight back from Israel this morning. Baruch Hashem. We try all different means of communication, of commuting. Coming back a little on a high, spiritual high. When you get off the plane here, it's a letdown. Immigration's the biggest letdown in the world. Back in New York. But then when we come to the shiur, it gives chizuk again. Get uplifted again. At least we can, in Chutz La'aretz, we can still have somewhat of the Gdushat Eretz Yisrael through Koach HaTorah. I feel obligated to take a couple of minutes to talk about a great loss that the Jewish nation suffered this week. I'm not sure if you heard or didn't hear, but on Monday, a great Rosh Yeshiva in Israel named Rav Yaakov Yagen, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha, passed away after battling a tough disease. He was one of the Gdolei Olam, a giant in Torah in great magnitude. The Rosh Yeshiva of Chevron Geula for many years, and after that his own yeshiva, Kiryat Melech I think it was called. And there wasn't anywhere in Shas that he couldn't say a shiur by heart on the spot without preparing. That's just to put things into perspective. You could walk into a room and you tell him, I want to hear a shiur on Brachot Daf Lamed Gimel. Boom, he started. No preparation, no books, no nothing. It was a computer, a walking Sefer Torah. And he passed away, interestingly enough, on Lag BaOmer. Now I want to tell you something very interesting. On Pesach, he was already in critical condition in the hospital. And I heard this from his family members. They said that the doctors called them urgently on Pesach. They said, it's over, come. They went on the holiday. They said with him vidui and everything, and right, Shema Yisrael, it's over. And it wasn't over. Hashem had other plans. And he made, we won't call it a medical comeback, he was in the hospital, but he was functioning somewhat. His body was still functioning again. And then, Ba'atzat B'dolei Yisrael, with the advice of the great Torah sages, it was decided to add him on the name. So they added him on the name Rafael. It's done a lot. La'aleinu, we should never know, only on Sonei Yisrael, when somebody's not well. So if it's critical, then we add a name. We're talking about names, maybe we should clarify. I know today there's a fashion of changing names, adding names. That comes from an overdose of alcohol normally. That doesn't come from Torah. You have a name, that's it. What's the problem with the name? Unless you got a name, La'aleinu, of a Rasha, somebody's name is Nimrod, so then there's no choice, we have to change his name. But the regular person, well, it's that lo zu derech haTorah. I'm not aware of many cases that somebody had a Jewish name that was changed by Gdolei Yisrael. But it sounds good, right? We look for quick fixes. So if somebody wants to imagine, I'm going to change my name, things are going to work out. I just have one challenge to that. If the theory is, now that I have a new name, so I'm a new person, who said things are going to get better? They may just get worse. So at least what's going on, you know what's going on. The new name might cause a lot of harm. And I'll tell you over the years, unfortunately, I had to witness countless of stories like that. But in the Sfarim HaKadoshim, close to 2,000 years ago already, it's already quoted that by cholesh yesh bo sakana, somebody's extremely sick. So in certain situations, we do a shinui Hashem, we add on a name. So it's either Rafael or Chaim or Chai, names that mean life. For a girl, Chaya, different names that mean life. So they added on for him, his name was Shmuel Yaakov, they added on for him Rafael. Now, the halacha goes, again, we should never have to know of these things and deal with them, but unfortunately some of us have to deal with this regularly, that if somebody was given a name when he was critically ill, and he didn't make it, he passed away, so after it's 120, the name that was added on is not really his name. It goes away again. And the reason is because the whole purpose of the name was to give him a new life. If he didn't get a new life, that means it's not his name. And La'aleinu is very common. For example, on the Matzeva, when they bury him, or we learn Li'lu Nishmat, and so on. So he had this name, and on the day of Lag BaOmer, this name Raphael was no longer applicable, and it went away. Lag BaOmer was the day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rashbi, Reish Shin Bet Yud. Reish Shin Beit Yud is the Rashi Tevot of Rafael Shmuel Yaakov Burenstein. And when did the Reish of Rashbi no longer exist anymore? On Lag BaOmer, the day Yom Tirato of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. And there is no coincidence in the world. I'm not going to say what I think, but there's definitely no coincidence in the world. From Lag BaOmer until Shavuot Haba Aleinu L'Torah, maybe this would be a good time to make the announcement. Bezrat Hashem Bli Neder Shavuot, we're going to be here in Queens. There'll be learning programs throughout the whole holiday, not just at night. In the yeshiva world, there's a joke. They say we go to sleep the morning of Shavuot and wake up Rosh Chodesh Elul. We don't do that. By Hashem, learning at night or by day is equal importance. If you learn all night and sleep all day, what'd you gain? For that, just do it. Be a normal person. Sleep at night and learn at day. But we're going to try and do both. Learn all night and all day. Non-stop learning. So we'll be here in Queens, and as you know, we don't discriminate. It's open for everybody, male and female alike, because we believe everybody should study Torah. In the days of Sfirat HaOmer, something changed this past Sunday, Saturday night Sunday. And this is based on the teachings of the Gaon Vilna and the Maharal Prague, as quoted to me and my friends that were with me this past Monday by my Rebbe, Shibadel Chaim Tovim, Shlem Chesed, Hashem should give him a long life. It is known that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave in the world 32 paths of Binah, Chokhmah, however you want to title them, depending on what you understand. This depends on Kabbalistic concepts of Sfirot. That you need all those channels in order to get closer to Him. This is what it is. Why? I don't know. This is what He did. And this has a lot of implications and different things in Kabbalah, that many things come in denominations of 32 or 32 different options and ways in order to be able to obtain high spiritual levels. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai came down to the world with the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm assuming you were aware of that. It also makes sense because Moshe Rabbeinu went up to heaven for 40 days. He went more than once for 40 days, but initially the plan was to go up for 40 days. He was the only human to go up alive, come back alive. Others went up alive, but they didn't come back. He went up alive, came back down alive, and in whatever it means, the physical format, was able to sit with God and learn the entire Torah. Not only did he learn the entire Torah, he learned every chidush that any Talmid will ever be mechadesh. That means any new thing that anybody will ever say. When today we say a chidush Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu was already taught that from God during those 40 days. To the point that when it got to a situation that he saw Rabbi Akiva and the darash of Rabbi Akiva in the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what are you giving the Torah through me for? Rabbi Akiva is so much greater, give it through him. That's how far it went. And for some reason, this process took exactly 40 days. Rabbeinu HaKadoshim teach us, the Maharal talks about this at length, that the reason why it took 40 days is like this. The Torah is divided into 4 parts. Pshat, Remez, Darash, and Sod. This is the way the Torah is divided. The 4 parts of the Torah. Pshat, the simple understanding. Remez, things that we learn like in hints or riddles or puzzles, one thing from another. Darash, that's the Darashot of Chazal already, the extras. And Sod, the secrets, the Kabbalistic aspect of the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept Moshe Rabbeinu to later on come down on Mount Sinai and give the Aseret HaDibrot. The Aseret HaDibrot really are just 10 more mitzvot. We have 613. But because of the calculations of 10, which again is something that's a little bit beyond us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the Torah to come down through the 10 Dibrot, and then later on the rest of the Torah on Har Sinai, but like in that cycle. Comes to Maharal and says that therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu went and made that there should be 40 days that Moshe Rabbeinu was there. So like this, every 10 days, he'll learn the Torah in one of its variations. The first 10 days, he learned the Torah in Pshat. The second 10 days, he learned the Torah in Remez. The third 10 days, in Darash. The fourth 10 days, he learned it in Sod, in the hidden parts.
How is he able to process all that if he was human?
When God's your teacher, you can process a lot, that's the answer. The same way a baby in his mother's stomach, the Gemara says, learns the entire Torah, beginning to end. The Gemara has an interesting way of describing it. That there's a malach that teaches him the whole Torah, v'ner daluk l'rosho, and he has a candle lit by his head. So those of you who already had children, you must have had a candle in your stomach. Maybe that explains why pregnant women are always hot. You burn a candle, Maybe, I don't know. That might have been my stupidity, but one way or the other. But Hashem's your direct teacher. There's a lot more that you could learn. Hashem could be our direct teacher today as well, by the way. There was a great, great rabbi. We've said many things from him in the past. In Israel, in the latter years of his life, he lived in Israel. Prior to that, in England. His name was Rav Yaakov Yagen. Zecher Tzadik Levacha, Zchutei Hagen Aleinu. Rav Yaakov used to go to the Kotel on rare occasions, normally ahead of Rosh Chodesh. And when somebody doesn't go to the Kotel that frequently, normally you want to spend some time there. Imagine you flew tonight to Israel. Well, tonight's not applicable because of Shabbat, but Saturday night you go to Israel. And your first stop straight from the airport is the Kotel. Shekhinah doesn't move from the Kotel. Now you're with your friend, you come to the Kotel, and you want to pray. And 3 seconds later, he or she tells you, okay, we were here, let's get out of here. I said, what? That's what we came from America for, to be here for 3 seconds? Oh, we want to be here, we want to stay. Pray a little bit, this, that. At least an hour, 2 hours, something. Chatzkel used to go once in a while to the Kotel. He wasn't a man that had extra time. Klal Yisrael needed it. And he would spend less than half a minute. And it was weird. If you're going, why only half a minute? Stay, read the whole Tehillim, 2 hours, hour and a half, whatever it takes. And if 30 seconds is enough, what do you accomplish in 30 seconds? So once, one of his students decided that he has to hear what's going on. That student was together, but he was embarrassed to stand right near the rabbi and listen in to the rabbi's prayer, right? That's kind of rude after all. So he took with him a close friend of Rav Yaakov Yagen, another great tzaddik that passed away after him by a bunch of years. His name was Rav Chaim Brim, Zecher Tzadik Levacha. I had the schut to learn Chavruta with Rav Chaim Brim for a while. Tzaddik Yisod Olam. A man who fasted almost his entire life. That's literal. Almost his entire life he fasted. And he was sandak every day almost. And by sandak, it's they want you to come to the brit, to the suda. Now he was fasting. He didn't want people to know he's fasting. So when somebody would invite him sandak, he would tell him, okay, I'll come be sandak, but there's one condition, that the blessings that people want from me afterwards, only in the ballroom where the food is. People didn't understand, it sounded weird. He used to finish sandak, take off his talit tefillin, and run downstairs right away, before everybody. He was the first in the hall. A few minutes later, the guests would come, sit down. And he would walk around with serving trays to people, say, eat this, it's very good, eat this, it's very good. So they already assumed he was hungry, he ran down and ate quickly, and now he's already telling everybody to eat. Little did they know that was his cover-up his whole life, that people should know that he fasts most of the year. So he was a very, very close friend to Rav Yaakov Yagen. If you want to know how close, once when we were learning Chavruta, I was asking questions about Rav Yaakov Yagen, and this is what he told me. He said, you see my 2 fingers? And he picked up 2 fingers like this. So you see how close they are? I said, yeah, it's weird. He said, me and Rav Yaakov Yagen were closer than these 2 fingers. He said, Nafshi kshura b'nafsho, my soul was literally attached to his soul. It's the language of tzaddikim. So this boy, the student of Rav Yaakov, took Rav Chaim Brim, that they should join Rav Yaakov by the Kotel to figure out what is it that he's doing by the Kotel for 30 seconds once in a while on random occasions. Chaim Brim was in on it because he was curious also. So they went. And Rav Chaim listened in, he wasn't scared to listen. And this is what he heard Rav Yaakov say. He said, Ribono shel Olam, I came here to the place where there used to be the Beit Mikdash, the outside wall of the Beit Mikdash. I want the Beit Mikdash again. He said, you know why I want the Beit Mikdash again? We don't need the Beit Mikdash, it's fine without it. But I'll tell you why. Because in order to have the Beit Mikdash again, the 3rd temple only comes together with Mashiach. And I need Mashiach. And the reason why I need Mashiach is not because I have problems and I need him to fix my problems. Some people think Mashiach's a quick fix to all your trouble in life. The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says, Shlosha ba'im b'hesech hadat, Mashiach, Metziyah, and Akrav. Right? It's the Gemara. The Gemara says 3 things come when you're not ready for them. Mashiach, Metziyah, that means if you walk on the street, find $100 bill somewhere, you didn't expect it, came when you weren't ready, and Akrav, a scorpion. The Malshah says he doesn't understand. It's not nice to put in the same sentence Mashiach and a scorpion. What's the common denominator? It's weird. And he says over there, very frightening chidush. He says, really the Gemara says one thing comes when you're not ready for it, that's Mashiach. He says, for some people it's going to be a mitzvah, the greatest thing that could possibly happen. If For other people, it's going to be a big sting. Ouch! I could have done so much more. Why did I waste my time? That's what the Maharsha says. I once added on, if you remember to that I think it's going to be the biggest bite is going to be to those who have a lot of millions of dollars in the bank. Because at that point, all the money's worthless. So they instantly went bankrupt. And then they realized retroactively that I could have bought trillions and trillions of more mitzvot. And instead I kept it in the bank. What an idiot. And that's going to be the biggest akrav. There's no greater bite of a scorpion than that in the world. That's the biggest miskin when Mashiach comes. You realize everything he worked for his whole life, suddenly in 1 second is worthless. And he could have made something out of it. Anyway, Rav Chatzko would say like this. You know why I need Mashiach? Because I need a good chavruta. Mashiach's going to know all the Torah, Navi, he'll be able to teach me on a very high level. God, either send him right now so I can have a good chavruta, and if you're not sending him now, so you have to teach me whatever he would have taught me. And he would go back to his house and continue learning. That's what he went to the kotel for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it takes to say that once in a while. What do we learn from the story? Number one, puts things in perspective. We want Mashiach. What do we want Mashiach for? The real reasons, the right reasons. But it also puts something else very deeply in perspective. That if a person today can demand from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't have a Mashiach to teach me, you teach me yourself. You help me. I'll sit down to learn, I'll open the Gemara, and you help me that it should work. I should be able to grow in the Gemara, I should be able to understand the Gemara, I should be a Talmid Chacham. Chazal say that before a person is born, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes the soul swear, Hey tzaddik v'lo rasha, that he's going to be righteous is not evil. Which really means to be a Talmid Chacham and not an Am Haaretz. So it used to be years ago, we used to talk and quote this Chazal and say, listen, you promised God before you were born that you're going to do the right thing, so do the right thing. Today I don't think we have to come on to that. I think we just say, look at the way Am Haaretzim's lives look and understand where you belong. Look at the way the quality of life of an Am Haaretz is, and you'll realize in 1 second that's not what I want for myself. You'll go learn. I think that's the biggest incentive in the world possible to go learn. On the flight back from Israel last night to this morning, there was a little commotion 5 minutes after takeoff on the plane. And I thought maybe somebody's not well. We'll go help out. You know a little bit of these things, we could help out. So I went to the flight attendant and I said, is there help needed? She said, no, you don't have this problem. I said, what do you mean this problem? What's going on? She said, a few of the screens on the back of the seats aren't working, so the people are all upset what they're going to do now for 11 hours. I told them I have a beautiful solution. I just bought a half a library when I was in Israel. I could share with everybody my Sfarim. They'll have what to do the whole way. It'll be a lot more productive than Mickey Mouse. If that's the quality of life, that when the screen doesn't work, so now we need a riot in the air, so that's what we understand. Like Baruch Hu made a person swear, have a normal life. Don't be a Meshugana. Hey tzaddik v'lo rasha. Be normal. It's not about spiritual things. It's just about seichel. We're intellectual people. Use your head. Make your head work a lot. And make it work hard. Fine. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to give over to Am Yisrael Pshat, Remez, and Darash. When it came to the part of the sword, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't allow him to give it over already. Why? I don't know. Cheshbonot Shamayim. Later on in history, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put his soul back in the world through Nishmat Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, which Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was the one who brought down the Zohar and the Kabbalah, all the Sodot of the Torah to the world, in order to fill the last 10 days of what Moshe Rabbeinu originally learned to give over to Am Yisrael. The sword was the ultimate of perfection in order to perfect the puzzle of Matan Torah. Chazal HaKadoshim say that in the entities of the world, there are different things that are titled with different nicknames. Amongst them, besides for God's actual names, God is nicknamed Tov. Very simple why. Because in the cycle of creation, the only reason why God created mankind was leheitiv, in order to do good for people, and the ultimate good, not the good the way we see things today. And if a Tov is darko leitiv, as it says in the beginning of the Derech Hashem of the Ramchal, one who is good, it's contingent on the fact that he does good for others, so that means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the perfection of Tov, the perfection of good. Our rabbis teach us, amongst them, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai said it about himself in the Zohar, that he was also nicknamed Tov, because he brought down Tovah La'olam, good to the world, the whole Torah Tasod, and everything that comes along with it, and all the great levels and great heights that a person can get along can obtain with learning Torah Tasur. Comes the Gaon of Vilna and the Maharal, they both say the same thing, each one in his way, but the concept is the same, and they say a very interesting thing. If you open the beginning of the Torah, and you count the words of the Torah, Bereshit, Bara, Elohim, Meta, Shamayim, Veta, let's start counting words. The 33rd word of the Torah is Tov. The 33rd word of the Torah is Tov. Okay, but that could be a random coincidence. Who says that has anything to do with like B'om, Hashem B'Yochai, that you make Sfirat Tov? That's a coincidence, big deal. So the Maharal continues, and he says like this: the word Bereshit, the letters Beit, Resh, Aleph, Shin, Yud, Taf, stand for Et, for. What's left if you take out the Aleph and Taf? Beit, Resh, Shin, and Yud. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim et haaretz. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. Why? Et Rashbi. So one day there should be somebody like Rav Shimon Bar Yochai that's going to come to the world to be able to give us the continuation of the Torah, which is really it fits very well. Bereshit, Chazal say, B'shvil Torah shenikrat Bereshit. It's for the Torah. Rabbi Shimon was able to bring down the ending of the Torah, the part that the elements that we were missing until then. Rabbi Shimon's day was, when did he reveal all of this? Like B'omer, right? When you look in the Hidra, it says over there the whole story. At great length, the fire came down from Shamayim the entire day. That's why like B'omer is a big day of joy, not the other way around. That's why from there on, right, we all take haircuts now. And those who go according to Kabbalah don't, but those of us who are still in the regular place, we shave, Baruch Hashem, everything's back to normal. And what changed? The koach of Torah Tarashbi. The koach of the Torah of Hashem Bar Yochai brought down a simcha to the world, that simcha causes us for the rest of the days of Sfirat Omer in order to be able to do this. So now we got Et Rashbi of Hashem Bar Yochai, we got Tov, the 33rd word of the Torah, Lag B'omer the 30th. Until the 33rd day, we counted 32 days. The 32 channels of Chokhmah and Binah that it takes to get closer to God. In total, we count 49 days. 49, subtract 32, you're left with 17. Tov. So in the cheshbon, in the calculation of the time period that we're in, we finished the element that Kaviyachol is our job of Sfirat HaOmer, and now we're in the days that comes a great gift from Hashem, that He's mashpia on us. He just showers us with blessings all the way up to Matan Torah, so we should come ready and energized into the day of Shavuot. Now you could have the greatest days of the year and not know what they're worth, and it's worthless to you. And that's why it's so important to understand this. Every single day from now, it already started at the beginning of the week, we still got another week to go. More than a week. Every single day is a day of Tov. It's a day of greatness that Hashem just for free showers down on you from Shamayim, gives you gifts, extra spiritual heights. So Ashrav, great and lucky is the person who utilizes these days for something productive and adds on extra in his preparation for Matan Torah. Now I want to tell you something else. Last Thursday, we had a zchut to be in Bnei Brak. Bnei Brak is a new shekula chachamim, or ruba ki kula, the Gemara says close enough. I had a zchut. It wasn't my zchut. I went with a good friend, Rav Yaakov. He wanted to go visit somebody, and he said, let's go. Yeah, that Yaakov. And he said, let's go to Bnei Brak. So we went to Bnei Brak. It turned out to be a good day. Went to all the Gdolei Yisrael, Chaim Kanievsky, Rav Gershon Edelstein, Rav Povarsky, Rav Kahneman, all the Gdolei Yisrael. And then, when we finished with the live rabbis, he said it was time to go to those who are not alive anymore. So Bnei Brak, I have a close connection to two graves there. Rav Shach, Zitzal, Zchutei Yagen Aleinu, who I constantly quote because I merited many, many years of close contact with him at a very, very young age. And many, many years later, it's going to be 2 years now, my brother Zachet Tzadik Livacha, he's also buried right near Rav Shach in the same cemetery. So we went there. While we were there by the Kivot Tzadikim, there are many Tzadikim that are buried there. Chazon Ish, Steipler, many others. While we were there in the cemetery, the gentleman who was paid to take us around that day. Says, points to a van, and he says, see who's there? Go, go. Who was there? Many of you read his stuff every week. It's published in many languages. Rav Elimelech Biderman, the superstar of today's generation in Torah. The man who, when he starts speaking, you don't want him to stop. It's just like go and go and go as many hours as you want, because there's never a dull second. He happened to be there. So we went running over to get a blessing. He's not the blessing type. That's not his personality. And he said one sentence. Gave, and he blessed us, whatever you want to call it. But he said one sentence that was greater than all the blessings in the world. He said, "Tikhu psiya achat ktana likrat HaKadosh Baruch Hu." Take one small step towards God in these days during Sfiyat HaOmer. He paused. Second, 2 seconds, whatever it was. He said, "Atem yodim lama?" You know why? Ki im tikhu psiya achat likrat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you'll take one little step towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hu yikach psiya gdola likratchem. He'll take a very big step back in return towards you. At the time, those words sounded nice, it almost sounded poetic, but it didn't really register. On my little 4-hour journey from Lakewood to here today, it did register. We asked the first class after Pesach that Sfiyat HaOmer seems to be backwards, literally backwards. Our example was if somebody's getting married and they have 30 days left to their wedding, you ask them, "And how many days are you getting married?" So they say, "I have 30 days left." They don't say, "Today is 1 out of 30 to go," or meaning you count down, you don't count up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Sfiyat HaOmer doesn't go that way. It should have been 49, 48, 47, the countdown to Matan Torah. This question has been brought down in many Sfarim hundreds of years ago, and each one said his opinion on this. And tonight, I'll tell you what I think is very simple, based on what he said. The world was given to us in a way that on its rankings of things that we obtain, the max denomination we get to is 49. And it's very simple why. To the good or the bad, by the way. Because God created the world in 7 days. So the maximum of anything to do with what you can create in this world is 7. And if you want to do that in multiples, so 7 times 7 would be 49. But that would be as far as you can go. That's why, for example, we say in Egypt they got to the 49th level of Tumah. If they would have went into the 50th, they would have never came out. But what that really means is there is no 50th to go into, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says at that point we stop. Anything beyond that is already beyond the human thing. The same thing, lahavdil, to the good side. There are 49 different ways of Torah and Chokhmah and other things that we can obtain with our own strength, obviously with God's help and God's blessing. And those are the 49 days of Sfiyat HaOmer. 48 days that are the Memchet Kinyanim Shatorah Niknet Bahem. One more day, which is either to review or the acknowledgement of what you're about to get into, but one way or the other. The 50th level is already a gift from God. You got the 49, I give you number 50. If that's the case, the answer is very simple. Tikhu psiya achat likrat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Take a little step towards God. When you run on a treadmill, the settings aren't, and you want to run a mile, the setting shows you 0, and then it becomes 1/10 of a mile, 2/10 of a mile, 3, it keeps on going up, depending how it's divided in your treadmill. It doesn't do a mile and go down. Now you can set it in the more sophisticated ones that way, but in general, that's the way it's done. Same thing with trainers. Believe it or not, many years ago, I used to go to a gym. Since then, me and the gym got divorced, but for good. But not that I discourage it. It's good. You should all go. It's healthy, but you won't find me there. I have a different gym. No, we lift books. We put them down. It's great. Climb up ladders to get the Svarim out of the top shelves. It's a great gym. It's an unbelievable workout. I have big manotet on the heavy too, like a bench press. And I believe if you do it right. So when I went to the gym, I had a personal trainer. I'm already doing it, let me do it the right way. And I remember the days that I was a fool to pay $90 an hour for torture. That's what it is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Every press, as it gets harder and harder and harder. So once I told him, let's do it the other way around. What are we trying to do? 50 today? 60 today? Let's count down. Maybe I'll be more motivated. He said, no, you'll hear the number 60, you'll give up on the spot. 1, 2, you'll feel accomplished. I did one, I did another one, I did another one, I did a... The accomplishment will give you the strength to do a drop more. If you wanted to run 2 miles and you ran 1.75 miles and now you're drained, if you see that 1.75 miles in big right in front of you, there's a good chance you'll push yourself and you'll do it. If it was the other way around, you'll say, close enough, I'm almost at 0, and you'll go right off. That's why they program things this way. This is true in sales and marketing and in many other aspects of life as well. Because when you count down, it's very easy to quit the second day. So many more days left, forget about it. Count your accomplishments. I took 1 more step towards God. I took 1 more step towards God. 1 more step towards God. And then what's HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to tell you in return? On the 50th day, I'll give you the greatest gift of all. I'll do the rest of the work for you. That's be'etzim. That's really the depth of the days we're in and what we're trying to accomplish. With a lot of effort, thought, and prayer is the key. Because Hashem, each day should be should be 1 more step. Every single day. And it's never too late. Rav Akiva started when he was 40. So even though we're far into Sfirah, we still didn't we're not up to day 40. So we could still start now. If you missed the first part of Sfirat Dom, it didn't work out so well, jump straight into the Tov part. Go right into the great part of it. And in retrospect, God will give it to you as if you did the other days as well. Because if you try, then he gives you a free pass in return. But I also tell you the flip side. Don't look to get close to Hashem by going to extremes. I spoke to a guy today on the phone. Somebody asked me to do him a favor and speak to this guy. Hashem Yirachem, he's up to all different interesting things. He doesn't like the reality of the world, so he uses all different methods to forget the reality of the world. Shalom Nida, it's a big disease amongst the youngsters today. We were talking on the phone, and I caught him at a sober moment, thank God. And we were able to have an intellectual conversation. I don't know who he is. I didn't ask him his name. He didn't offer to tell me, so I still don't know who he is. But he sounded on the phone like a brilliant man, both in intellect and a big neshama. And normally, dafka those are the ones who have the biggest problems as well. It's a package deal. I guess we were talking and talking. Maybe 40 minutes into the conversation, he says, you know what, Yaakov? I'm convinced. Book me a flight Sunday. I'm going to Israel. I'm taking a year off my life. I'm learning a yeshiva. Now, many of us would say, wow, that's pretty impressive. 40 minutes. He wants to go to yeshiva in Israel. You know what went through my mind at that moment? I just wasted 40 minutes of my life. Because the second somebody starts going with extremes, nothing's going to come out of it. When you try to jump high, if you don't land in the right spot, you fall very bad and it hurts. You try to go up 2 steps instead of 1 and you trip, no, not the end of the world. You don't come toppling down. Because Baruch Hu could have said 49 days of Sfirat Dom and condensed them into 1. Let's have 1 day. Yom Shekulot Torah. We'll be in the synagogue all day. We'll learn half a day, read Tehillim half a day. Boom, Matan Torah, bingo. Hashem purposely didn't do that. He said we're going to stretch it to the maximum number possible. 7 times 7. The maximum that we can stretch it out. So like this, every step will be a baby step that you can actually live up to and will be consistent and will actually last. It won't be something that's going to come today and disappear tomorrow. As one who came from the lineage of an uncle, Zachet Tzadik V'Racha, Shibadel Chaim Tovim, a father, that were pretty much the founders of this whole concept of kiruv in the world. I've seen a lot from very, very young age, from as young as I can possibly remember. And I want to tell you, 98% of those that got up at the end of classes or seminars and said, I take upon myself to keep Torah and mitzvot, 2 days later we're back to square one. But almost 100% of those that got up at the end of a class and said, I'm going to try and learn 5 minutes a day, or I'll try and add on read one perek Tehillim a day, or put on Tehillim for 30 seconds, 30 years later have children that have Bnei Torah. Because you have to gauge your steps right. Those of you who prayed Avid already tonight, just prayed for that. You might not be aware, but you did. We say in Avid, Ba'aseh Satan, Borei Olam, take away the Satan from us. But we add on a few words. Milfaneinu, from in front of us, Ume'achoreinu, and from behind us. So the rabbis ask, Milfanenu, we understand. You want to come to Shiur, the Satan standing there doesn't want you to go. No, stay home. So get out of here if you want to go. But Ma'achorenu, if he's behind, let him stay behind. What's the problem? You ever saw somebody drag race with somebody who's 2 miles behind them? It doesn't work like that. He's behind, forget about it. In life we always say, I buried it already, it's behind me, next. So if we buried the Satan, he's Ma'achorenu, then what's up? Comes to Chavetz Chaim and says the Satan never gives up. And even when a person got this situation that he pushed him behind, and now he can't stop him to do things anymore, he says, I still got to put up a fight. And how does he fight? He starts pushing him ahead. Yeah, you're in the right direction. Now become a big tzaddik overnight. Become a Pshum Bar Yochai, nothing less. Sometimes you see guys that 3 days ago were in the West Village doing who knows what, and today they're learning Zohar. We see it way too often. Lo aleinu v'lo alechem. The guy a few years ago was a criminal, was doing who knows what, fraud, financial fraud, this, that, every possible thing in the world. Today he's a speaker. How did that happen? What went wrong along the way? Couldn't find a job, so we'll get you a job. Doesn't work like that. That's the Satan. That's the Yetzer Hara of Yemot HaMashiach. Push him forward. Push him to the forefront. And a nation is judged by their leaders. And if leadership is whoever decided to be, then that's the way it is. Comes like Kodesh Baruch Hu and says, you know what Matan Torah is? The opposite extreme of that. We're going to stretch it to the maximum. Take the maximum amount of time to digest thoroughly, all the way, each and everything that along the way. Make sure you swallow it all in. You absorb it all. Don't miss one detail. And this is a big lesson. Of course, Chas v'Shalom, that doesn't mean that a person now could sit back and say, okay, so leave me alone, I don't want to do anything. You have to be constantly taking steps. Let's not use this as an excuse. But we should constantly take steps, but baby steps towards the right direction. And very small baby steps towards the right direction. We say, there's a saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. If Rome wasn't built in a day, then the Talmid Chacham is definitely not built in a day. Yirei Shamayim is definitely not built in a day. Or 5 years or 10 years for that matter either. A Posek is definitely not built in a day. It takes a long time. A lot of hard work. But it's the only thing that's really worth anything. It's the only thing that really pays off. The Gemara says, Masechet Shabbat, Lamed Bet, Lamed Bet, Lamed Gimel, Lamed Bet, sorry. Lamed Gimel, Lamed Bet. The Gemara says that after 12 years, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son, Rabbi Elazar, were in the cave. Ata Eliyahu v'kam apitcha dema'alta. Eliyahu Navi came and stood at the entrance of the cave where they were hiding out. What did he tell them? He yelled out loud. What did he yell out loud? Man lod'ei lebal Yochai demit kesar ubatil gzerateh. Who's going to tell Bar Yochai, Rabbi Shimon, that the kesar, the reason why he ran away, the guy's dead, and the gzerah is over, he can come out of the cave? Who's going to tell him? They heard that. They understood it's a message from God that it's time to leave. The Gemara says, Nafku. Nafku is plural. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar left the cave. What happened when they left the cave? This is the post-Lag BaOmer story. Comes the Gemara and says, Chazu inchi. They saw people, the kakalve v'uzra'i. They saw people plowing and planting their fields. That was their profession back then, farmers. Amar, so Rabbi Shimon said, Menichim chayei olam ve'oskim b'chayei sha'ah. What, they're leaving learning Torah in order to work? For money? That's what they're leaving Torah for? Come Chazal and say, every place that they looked, burnt. On the spot, every place that they looked, burnt. No, that's pretty holy, no? Imagine today there was somebody, some Kabbalist, whatever. If today we don't have Kabbalists, but in theory, he's wearing one of those rags on his head, and whenever he picks it up, whatever he looks at falls apart. They would say, this guy is out of control. We don't need the Americans to bomb in Syria. We'll send them in a plane, let them look down. It'll be fine. There would be a line for blessings by him, not 3 hours or 30 years. Who wouldn't go? Could charge any price. This guy, you don't need that. Wherever you look, whatever he does. That's the crazy world we're in, that we think this way. Because Baruch Hu doesn't think that way. Because Baruch Hu says, what? You see people working, making an honest living, and that bothers you and you're burning them? Even though it's for a holy reason. The bat kol came out and said, "La'achriv et olami yatzatem." The reason why I let you out of the cave is to destroy the world? No way. Chizru lima'aratchem. Go right back. Go right back. And they went back. The Gemara says, Hadu Azul. They heard about bat kol. Hashem said, go back. They went back. They went back to the cave. Eitivu treisar yachei shata. They stayed in the cave for 12 more months. They were there 12 years. Now they stayed another 12 months. After 12 months, Amway, they said to each other, Mishpat Rasha'im b'Gehenom shnei masar chodesh. The maximum even a Rasha Gamur goes to Gehenom is for 12 months. So if we were just in the cave for another 12 months, that means even if Hashem had a ta'ana on us, by now it's over. We're okay. So they left. Why'd they leave? They wouldn't leave on their own. Even then, when they knew they could leave, they waited for Hashem to tell them to leave. Another voice came out from heaven and said, Tz'u mima'aratchem. Go out of the cave. Nafku, they went out. When they came out, it says, Kol heicha dehave mache Rabbi Elazar, have maser Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Elazar was still looking places, and things were still going on fire. But now Rabbi Shimon was looking in the same place, and any place that he destroyed, Rabbi Shimon looked at it and it came back. I guess that was the first fire department we ever had. Rabbi Shimon's eyes. Rabbi Elazar looked, burnt! Rabbi Shimon fixed it. Unbelievable. There are many questions over here on this Chazal. You have to understand the words of Chazal. It's a nice story, right? Everybody knows it. We learned it as young kids, but there has to be something deep over here. Eliyahu Hanavi, Chazal say, used to come every single day to the cave to learn Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar. So why, when it was time to get them out of the cave, he stood by the outside of the cave and yelled, who's going to tell Bar Yochai that the Kesar died? You learned with him this morning. You should have told him then. Why was it like that? It's weird, no? You just saw it. Imagine somebody has something very important to talk to you about. He sees you, talks to you about the weather, it was hot today, what a hot day, humid, I hated it, that. Leaves. Then the next day he texts you, I need to talk to you, very important. You meet him again. Also, I don't know, now it's muggy. Now it's allergies, now it's he never talks to you about it. And then one day comes outside your window with a megaphone screaming, I gotta talk to you about it. He starts saying what he wants to say. Nutcase, you just saw me every day, what are you doing? Chas v'shalom on the comparison and the words for Eliyahu Navi and Shimon, but just to bring it out there with terminology. Eliyahu Navi saw him that morning. What are you waiting for? That's it. Wrap it up. It's a big question. Also, why didn't he just say? Hashem said it's time to come out of the grave. No, he had to say it backwards. Who's going to tell? He doesn't even say Rabbi Shimon. Bar Yochai, the son of Yochai, that the Kesar died. Why not just go straight to the point? Just say it. Get out of here. Third thing, the first time Eliyahu Hanavi came and said what he said, they understood they can go out, they went out. The second time they came out of the cave after the next 12 months, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself sent a bat kol, a voice from heaven, to tell him, Tz'u mima'aratchem. The first time we should have done that already. Just send a bat kol, Tz'u mima'aratchem. Close the story. Direct invitation from God. You know what we have to say? Say a big yesod over here. It's a very, very deep yesod. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Elazar, what were they doing in the cave all day? Learning. So when Eliyahu Hanavi went inside to learn with them, he was helping their learning. So at that point he was able to tell them something. He told them Chidushei Torah. But when it came time to tell him to come out of the cave, that's not learning anymore. Eliyahu Hanavi wasn't willing to take the risk to go into the grave, into the cave, to bother Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Elazar learning. And even though God sent them to go out, he was still not willing to go. He said, how can I stop their learning? I'm not going. But at the end of the day, Hashem told him that he has to go. So he said, I'm going to do a neutral thing. If they understand it's a prophecy, good. If not, not. But at least I didn't directly disturb their learning. So he stood by the door, and he said what he said in an indirect way, because even to say it directly, he was scared. No. Why the second time was a bat kol and the first time not? The first time Hashem should have said it straight. Why did he send Eliyahu Hanavi? So Chazal Kedoshim say that a bat kol is a variation of nivu'ah. It's a form of prophecy. Prophecy that's given for the good has to happen. Prophecy that's given negative doesn't have to happen. Right, we're going to read Parashat Chukotai, Shalom, all the problems over there. That doesn't have to happen. That could go to all the Jew haters, and there are way too many of them. But a prophecy that's said to the good, a promise that's said to the good, that has to last. That stays. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Elazar are going to go out of there and burn the world. And he's going to have to send them back. If a bat kol would have came out the first time, then we wouldn't be able to send them back to the cave anymore. And then by Menan, something bad would have to happen to them. So the first time, when he knew that in advance they would have to go back to the cave, he sent Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu Navi, fine, now we could send them back. The second time that they came out for good, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, Kaviyachol, was able to say straight out what he said. Because then it's something that would last. No. Even Kenim Advarim, I want to ask one more question to bring out one more point, and this will conclude. I think we'll walk away with something very big tonight. This generation is a little confused, so the example doesn't work so well with our confused generation. But originally, let's say 100 years ago, if you had a father and a son, normally, who was the bigger Talmid Chacham between the two? Father. He's older, he was around for more years. He was able to learn more years. So just by default, he was a bigger Talmid Chacham because he was here more years. Today, the world's upside down. A lot of parents aren't such big Talmidei Chachamim yet, and I stress yet, because I hope everybody will be a Talmid Chacham one day. And the kids go to yeshiva from a young age, and they know how to learn. By the way, all the dads in the room, and those of you who are going to be dads, hopefully, at the right time, I'm going to give you a very big incentive to start learning seriously on a regular basis. What are you going to do when your son's in 4th grade and comes home and says, Dad, I need to do homework, and he's going to open a Gemara Bava and Siyah to learn with you? What are you going to do? Girls, those of you who are dating, if you're dating a Ma'aretz, remember, your son will never respect your husband. Because the son's going to come home from yeshiva. If he goes to public school, better not have a son. But I mean that literally. But assuming he goes to yeshiva, you bring down a boy to the world to send him to the Goyim. That's why Hashem wanted you to bring down a boy to the world. Anybody disagrees? Voice your opinion. I want to hear it. What? Ama'aretz means somebody who doesn't know Torah. But assuming that we have children that are going to yeshivot, that are going to study Torah, so the kid's going to come home, Dad, Chumash, Dad, Mishnah, Dad, Mara, and you don't know which side's Rashi, which side's Tosfot, you don't know what's going on. And then what's going to be? So now the kid, when he's in 4th grade already, wrote his father off. He said, my dad doesn't know anything, and goodbye. So what's going to be? So he'll do Kibbud Avayim, because that's what they taught him in school. But that's where it's going to end. That's why, when Rachel, Eshet Rabbi Akiva, married Rabbi Akiva, her condition wasn't, buy me a house. She had a rich father. She had a house from him. Her condition wasn't, I need this, I need that, how much do you make, what's your education, what's in your bank account, No, she didn't care about anything. One and only one thing she wanted to know. Are you going to go learn right away? Because we have to have that the father is able to learn with his son. That's it. That's the way it is. That's a big incentive. That's a big push. Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave me the schut. Hundreds and hundreds of people over the years went to learn regularly just because of this statement alone. And most of them, their incentive was their wife pushing them out of the house. Go learn. My husband, Talmid Chacham. Yes, it seems like something's irking you.
I would say just get a tutor.
Just get a tutor.
Rabbi.
So who's the son going to view as his father? The father or the tutor?
Father's hiring.
There are way too many boys that talk to me and tell me these days, Rosh Shiva, he's like my father. That's a beautiful thing when we look at it from the Rosh Shiva's perspective, that he cares so much. But that's a tragic statement for a kid to say. That means he needs a stepfather. He doesn't have a father. Doesn't make sense. And the Torah is readily available for everybody. We have to correct the misconception. No, I didn't go to yeshiva, so I can't learn. If Rabbi Akiva, when he was 40 years old, didn't know Aleph Bet, and he was able to become Rabbi Akiva, the Rebbe of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, then everybody can learn. There's nobody who can't learn. You just got to make a commitment and care. And not learn, go to speeches. We do speeches because, to give you a little chizuk. But the speech is just supposed to be a vessel that the rest of the week you should sit and study Gemara. Halakha, serious things. If we didn't get to that goal, then what was the point of the speech? This is just a mean to convince that you should be motivated to go study more. Not that, okay, I came for an hour, I paid my dues for God for the week. That's not, what you do by that? This is not, God doesn't need the dues, he'll do without it. So up until now, in most Jewish generations, the father was always a bigger Talmid Chacham than the son. Just by default. Yemot HaMashiach, there's a nevuah that's going to be different, that's what we're seeing today. It's a blessed thing in a way, because Baruch Hashem, at least the kids were saving. Ve'yeshiv leiv avot al banim. Sometimes the leiv avot goes on the banim, the father's on the son. Leiv banim, sometimes it's the opposite. The son is the one who turns around the father. This story I hope you know, but I have to repeat it because my uncle used to love saying it. This was Rav Nissim's opener to probably the majority of his speeches in his life. He claimed it was a true story that happened by him. He said that he once spoke to parents to convince them to send their kid to a Jewish school. There's no greater mitzvah in the world than to help a kid get out of the crematory of public schools and go to a holy yeshiva. And the parents for themselves said, we're not keeping on, we're not interested in it. But to send they had a daughter. To send the girl to religious school, that we agree. Why not? In Israel's free also, it's not so hard to convince. Chinuch Atzmai, let her go. She went to Chinuch Atzmai. She's 5 years old. What do they teach you in school at 5 years old? The basics. Say brachot before you eat. I don't know. What do they teach you? The Parsha story, if you saw them. One Friday she's in school, and they taught her, Kol Isha Ubat Tadlik Nerot Shabbat. Every mother has to light Shabbat candles. I purposely skipped the daughter part because that's wrong al pi halacha. Even though some communities have customs like that. The daughter's single, living at home, the mother lights for everybody. All right. She comes home Friday afternoon from school. Mom, you gotta light candles. Her mother said, listen, our deal with the rabbi was that you go to school to learn, not to preach. Now you're preaching already. You're out of your territory. Mom, my morah told me you gotta light candles. Not happening. Okay. She said, not happening. So if my mother doesn't light, so I have to light. She went down to the makolet, to the grocery store. She told the guy in the grocery store, sell me 2 candles. That's what she learned in school. He said 2 candles. Who uses 2 candles? You buy a box of candles. So what must be if she's asking for 2 candles? She wants 2 Nerot Neshama, yahrzeit candles. He sold her 2 yahrzeit candles. Gave it to her, wrote it on the account. She took it upstairs, went into her bedroom right before Shkiat HaChama, closed the door, got herself matches, kids shouldn't be playing with fire, and she lit the 2 candles. She's standing there in front of the 2 candles. It's her and God and the candles. The mother sees the daughter's not around Friday night. Everybody's sitting in the dining room watching TV, and the kid's not there. She went to see everything's okay with her kid, responsible mother. Now imagine the scene. She opens the door of the room and sees her daughter standing and praying in front of 2 yahrzeit candles. And she almost faints. She says, Mazeh, what's this? He said, what do you mean, Mazeh? What do you mean, what's this? I lit 1 for my mother, and 1 for my father! And you can imagine from there on, she lit candles every Friday. The daughter didn't understand, that was like a prophecy what she said. She lit Nerot Neshama for 2 souls that were wasting their life until that moment. She didn't realize, Mom's like a nevuah. Miyom shenechav Beit HaMikdash, right, the Gemara says, from the day the temple was destroyed, Nitna nevuah, prophecy was given, Lashotim, to the imbeciles, V'atinokot, and to children. When a child talks, could be an element of prophecy in what a kid says. So now I want to ask you a question. Rabbi Shimon, the second time, what happened? Rabbi Shimon, when he came out, Rabbi Elazar was looking, he was burning. Rabbi Shimon was bringing it back. Rabbi Shimon was the older generation. He should have been the more fanatic one. So if anything, it should have went the other way around. Rabbi Shimon should have been looking and burning everything. And Rabbi Elazar should have been, Dad, it's okay, it's a younger generation, whatever, we have to understand. And he would have fixed it. Why does the Gemara say exactly the opposite? It's an interesting question. Maran Rav Elyashiv Zitzal once asked this question to my brother, Rabbi Solomei Zecher Tzadik Livracha. So he doesn't understand this question. More than that, if you look good in the Gemara Masechet Milad of Yudzayin Amud Bet, I don't want to elaborate so much on the Gemara because it would take another whole class now. The Gemara says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in his teva, in his nature, was a kabdan, whatever that means. He was a person that was more fierce, more tough. So if anything, Rabbi Elazar was the more lenient, more naturally also. So what's going on over here? Gemara says it's not like that. You know what the answer is? Well, let me say first the pshat that the Mfarshim say, then I'll say what my agenda is. The Mfarshim say the pshat is, Rabbi Shimon, when he went to the cave, did he have a choice? No, he had to run away from the government. Rabbi Elazar, he wasn't in trouble, he didn't have to go anywhere. So when Rabbi Elazar went willingly to the cave to be with his father to learn with him, the fact that he went that willingly got him to such a high level that when he came out, he was on a higher level kaviyachol than his father. And that's why it happened that way. That's what the Mufashim say. Honestly, it's very hard to understand. It's a big tzarich this chat for many reasons amongst them. If that's the case, Rabbi Elazar should have revealed Torah Tasel, not Rabbi Shimon. And how can you say that at all? Rabbi Shimon witnessed on himself that he was the greatest neshama and many other things like it. So, I don't know. Tzarich you have to, I don't know. Maybe one day Hashem will help me understand this chat that the Mufashim say. I want to tell you a different shot based on what we say. Rabbi Elazar was young. When you're young, you have a lot of energy, but that energy can also be used, I'm not saying this God forbid about Rabbi Elazar, just for the concept, for us, in a reckless way. We gotta go, we gotta conquer, we gotta do it. And as a result, the tolerance is very little. So Rabbi Elazar, even when he had to go back to the cave for 12 months, and even when God told him, you're coming to destroy the world, but he still had that fire in him and he couldn't keep it contained. Rabbi Shimon was great enough to have the fire, but keep it contained. You know when you know you're getting closer to Hashem? When you are getting closer to Hashem, not when you're imposing it on the people around you. When you're imposing it on the people around you, you're not getting closer to Hashem. You're becoming a dictator. Let's try that again. You know when you're getting closer to Hashem? When you are getting closer to Hashem. Not when you impose it on those around you. Now, if you are doing it for the right reasons, and you're doing it sincerely, in a gentle, nice, loving, warm way, so everybody's going to follow. Because everybody would rather have a life of meaning than an empty life. But if it's not happening on your own, and now you became the preacher of your family, it's muchach that you're not doing anything right. So, make a big U-turn, start from scratch, and figure out where to start, what's going wrong. Because you got it all wrong. Rabbi Shimon was so great that he had in him a fire that could have burnt everything. But what made him even greater was he was able to contain it inside. He was able to say, this, they're not up to yet. This, we need more patience for. This, time will do. And in the interim, to heal all the scars that happened along the way as a result of Rabbi Elazar's fierceness. As we get closer to Matan Torah, I'll say it as openly as could be, even though it's a very, very sore, painful subject by a lot of us. Many of us went to good yeshivot, good Batei Yaakov, good schools, or were raised in homes, especially if the parents were Balei Tshuva. It's more common that way. And we're put under extreme pressure that we weren't built for. And we're asked to do things that we weren't ready for. And we're dictated what and how and when and where and why when it didn't fit our personality. And when we weren't equipped to accept it. And as a result, as we got older, we began to resent it. And the one that's paying a price for it now is ourselves and Tzar HaShekhinah, that Hashem is suffering with us in this situation. The first step to take towards Hashem is to understand that the mistake that that speaker made, or the rabbi made, or the teacher made, or the parents made, or whatever else made, you have to be able to let go of. Because without that, you'll never get closer to Hashem. You always have a wall, whatever it is, whatever mistakes were made with you when you were younger. You'll never get closer to God. The first step, let it go. Yeah, people make mistakes. And the worst mistakes in the world are the mistakes that are done l'shem shamayim, the ones that are done for good intentions. I'm not scared of bad people. Bad people, yitamu chataim yanaretz, then it's all over. I'm scared of good people, those who have good intentions. Because when you have a good intention, there's no end. What do you mean? Shem Shamayim. Shem Shamayim. Hashem. We stick God's name into everywhere. Everywhere. I was pinged on probably 3 or 3:30 a.m. on Tuesday night this week. I was sitting with people and we were just getting done. And I was hungry. And I asked the cab driver if he can take me somewhere that's still open. I was too tired to even drive. And he said, sure, he'll take me somewhere. He took me to a place. And I wanted to make sure it's kosher at that hour. You gotta see if the extra's okay, what's going on. And the guy starts showing me that he has the Baba Sali's picture and this one's picture and that one's he had all the tzaddikim on the wall. I don't have in my house so many things. So Chamovadi said years ago on people like that, because in Israel every store is like that almost, that the answer to those people are, if the Baba Sali would be cutting the shawarma and you would be hanging on the wall, I would eat no problem. But as long as the Baba Sali's hanging on the wall and you're cutting the shawarma, I got to see that it's actually kosher. That's what Chamovadi used to say on that. But this guy was a chilled guy. He was in the mood of talking. So I was talking to him about this or that. Turns out he had a good hechsher and that. He was really serious about it. Everything in the store is legit. I said, Baruch Hashem, we can get some food. Then he asked me, what are you doing in Israel? I said, I came for Lag BaOmer. Who are you? I told him my name. He says, oh, are you related to Rav Yaakov? I said, yeah, I'm his nephew. He says, I need a blessing from you. I said, from me? Because my uncle was a tzaddik. What does that have to do with me? What do you want from me now? I said, a blessing? I'll give you a blessing. I'll give everybody blessings. You should always bless everybody. Why not? I do it for selfish reasons. You bless a Jew, you get blessed. The more the merrier. I wish I was joking. He says, give me a blessing that my new store should succeed. I said, listen, you got a model that looks like it's very successful. 3:30 in the morning, I'm not the only one online. You're doing something right. He says, no, but my new store is going to be a little different. I said, what does a little different mean? He said, I bought out 2 stores that are pizza shops that are open on Shabbat. If they're open on Shabbat, what does that mean? They have no kashrut. I said, what's the name of the stores? Domino's Pizza. What do they sell there? Pizza with meat on top. Basar v'chalaf. He says, give me a blessing that Be'ezat Hashem, I knew two new stores should be successful. I said, I give you a blessing that your 2 new stores should be shoe stores. It shouldn't be ma'achim levelot and trefot to the whole Am Yisrael. So are you crazy? Over here you have a store with a good hechsher. You're giving everybody kosher food. Without realizing it, you have a lot of mitzvahs every day. Because all these guys, who knows where else they would have ate if not for you. And now you're going to destroy all of that with 2 not kosher stores? I sat with him for like an hour and a half after he closed. Baruch Hashem, he committed. Not just, I even took a video selfie with him. Yeah, have it on video. I wanted to have record. I sent it to him. You can see it's recorded. He committed that it's not going to be Domino's Pizza. I don't know what he's going to call it. I told him maybe call it off the Domino. And we got rid of the basar v'chalaf. We started something else instead. But even in that, they mixed Hashem's name. Be'ezrat Hashem, I should be successful. My 2 new stores that are open on Shabbat that sell basar v'chalaf. But Hashem's name, there's no end to the damage you could do. And be very careful with that. And that's what Rav Shimon Bar Yochai told us. Take steps towards God. Take the steps for yourself and let the others follow. Lead by example, not by words. Lead by the Torah being loved, that everybody should want to do the right thing. Not by everything shoved down people's throat when they're not ready for it. A young girl that learns Torah in a way that they love it is never going to leave it. Even in their roughest moments. Their love for Torah will always outweigh everything. Yosef HaTzadik had a nisayon almost for a year straight. Eishet Potifar. A test that, under normal circumstances, it was impossible to pass. There was one way passed that test. She did every crazy thing possible to get him to sin. And at one point, he had a breaking point. Yeah, Chazal said this, not me. He was already going to concede and do a sin. What saved him? Rashi brings down Chazal. Ra'ah Tmut diukno shel aviv. He saw the image of his father in front of him. What does that mean? The Maharal says, he felt, suddenly it got ignited in him, the endless love that his father gave him all the years, the 17 years he was home. The endless gifts, the briberies, the clothing, that's what Chazal say. He made him, asal oktonet pasim. I'm going to get your son to be a ben Torah, buy him nice clothes. He saw how his father cared about him, about his needs, about his desires, about his feelings, about his weaknesses, about his strengths. That's what he saw. And that's what saved him from Navira. Now let's imagine I can't talk like this about Avot HaKadoshim Tzadikei Olam, but that the Yaakov Avinu's diukan, his memories of his childhood, were the opposite. Instead of Yosef HaTzadik, there wouldn't be Yosef. His kids would have been goyim. Meaning Am Yisrael came out. The whole way we have a continuation to Am Yisrael was out of that. We began by discussing the great loss of Shmuel Yankov Bornstein. Shmuel Yankov Bornstein, amongst his Geranut in Torah, which obviously outweighs everything else, had a special gift in giving over Torah to his students with so much love that they never wanted to leave. Normally in a yeshiva, when 1 o'clock comes and it's lunchtime, the boys are already at the edge of the bench. They're hungry, they're running since 9, they're up since 7, they went to pray and everything. They want to go eat, rest, because at 3:30 they got to start all over again. They have a long day. When he said a shiur, even if he went overtime, nobody was ever in a rush. Because he didn't teach Torah. He lived Torah. When he said a chidush on the Gemara, he was living the Gemara. When he gave over a piece of the machshevet Musa, Torah Musa, he was living it. You saw the life. You saw the love. You saw the care. You saw the concern. And he was there for each and every student. I didn't have the scoop to be a direct student, but I did hear a few shiurim here and there. But just from the little interaction that I saw from very far, I wish I would have been smart enough to get closer to him. It's always easy to say after somebody's not around and all the stories come out. But to see the face of his students as they mourned him this week was the greatest indicator to the love that he had for them. Every student felt that his world was destroyed. Because he understood to give over the depths of the Torah in a way that everybody that's learning by him should understand it thoroughly. And not only that, in a way that's going to live, that's going to last, it's going to be passionate by everybody, and they won't want to let it go. I don't know if you guys read the local magazines here or not. Unfortunately, this week, for some reason, I had to read one of them, and I stress unfortunately because I wasn't so excited by what I read. I saw a lot of advertisements there as well. I think most of the magazine was ads and a few articles. After the articles I read this week, I wish it would have all been ads. It would have been better off. But amongst the ads, I think every bakery and every grocery store in the city that's kosher was in there. I don't know every, because I don't know all of them, but a whole lot of them were, that's for sure. And it's all pre-Shavuot sale. Are you ready for Shavuot yet? And a picture of 3 cheesecakes. If that's what Shavuot is, then maybe we should skip it. Because that's disgracing the Torah. There's no halakha to eat dairy on Shavuot. Just the opposite, to have a dairy meal on Yom Tov might be against halakha, whether you have the custom to do so or not. On Yom Tov you're supposed to eat meat, not dairy. Now, because there are Hasidim and others that do it, so I don't want to get in trouble. I have some viewers that send me commentaries every week after they get the videos. They don't like this, because they have a custom like that. Fine. So whoever does it has what to be somech on, of course. Yeah, there are great Rosh Yeshivot that did it as well. But Shavuot is not about your cheesecake. It's not about how many hours you stayed up at night or didn't stay up, and where you prayed nets or you didn't pray. That's not what it's about. Shavuot is about renewing your vows with God. It's about assessing, where am I, where is He, and how do I take one step closer to Him. If you got that, you got Shavuot, with or without a cheesecake. On Erev Shavuot last year, 2 years ago, I was on the way to Queens. I wasn't in the best of moods, because when I came to the George Washington Bridge, some MTA, I think they're called, or something like that, those offices over there, I don't know what they're called. Transit officers. I think he had a bad dream, because it just wasn't true. Decided that I was talking on a cell phone and texting. I don't know how you talk and text at the same time. Tzarich iyun. So he came to give me 2 tickets. But then he wanted to be machmir, v'achut hamshulash lo b'meira yinatek. And he said that my registration was stuck with Scotch tape. He said by law it has to be stuck with the original thing, so he gave me a ticket for not having a registration in the window either. That was the most far-fetched thing ever. He did me a great favor, by the way, by giving me that 3rd ticket, because I went to court, and when the judge saw the 3rd ticket, and he asked what happened, and I told him what happened, he started laughing and just dismissed all 3. So at least justice was done over there. So that worked out. I get past that episode. Now I have kids in the car. My son then was maybe 5. He wasn't so happy. He was crying. He was scared of police, whatever. So the whole thing was uncomfortable and a waste of time. And then somebody calls. The whole time while I was by the bridge, somebody kept on calling. Now I have a cop there who's trying to give me a ticket for talking on a cell phone that I wasn't. I'm going to pick up a call now, then he for sure has a justification in his mind. So I didn't pick up the call. But somebody called so many times, I said, probably pikuach nefesh. So we got past the bridge, I put on my headset, I said, we'll call back. I called the person back on. I didn't know the number. A woman's voice picks up. Thank you, Rabbi, for calling me. I said, what could I do? Everything okay? She didn't sound so sick. He said, I have a serious halakha question. I can't get through to my regular rabbi. I got to ask you. I said, first of all, you're not allowed to go rabbi hopping. Go to your regular rabbi. No, I need to know an answer. It's almost a holiday. I need to know. It's 2 hours without. I said, okay, maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I said, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. I have 2 kids that are lactose intolerant. How are they going to be yotzei the mitzvah of cheesecake on Shavuot? So that's what you called me for 24 times now? That's what's left of Matan Torah. What cheesecake are you going to eat? That's what's left of it. Okay, eat this cheesecake or that cheesecake? Yeah. For Matan Torah like that, yeah, that's not what we're preparing for. We're doing Sfirat HaOmer Be'ez Hashem every day to take a step closer. My dearest brothers and sisters, with a heart filled with love, we were in Eretz Yisrael, we prayed for you all. We were in a lot of holy places, we had everybody in mind. Everybody in mind. Every place we went to, we mentioned all those who joined the Shiurim, and we give chizuk to our operations in the world in every way, shape, and form. Take the boost and come to Shavuot in a way that you're really ready. Amen, amen.